In this episode of Mercury's Cast, Alexander and Travis have a casual conversation. There are no actual topics that we discussed ahead of time. We just wanted to have a kind of a free-flowing conversation that touched on a lot of different issues, some of them current, some of them not so current. 9/11 got a big spotlight in this one. What is a millennial? Generation Z, which pisses me the hell off. Trey Gowdy gets a spotlight, and that guy's an absolute sniper. Obama gets a little bit of attention. And there's a lot of other topics, but the intro is just to tell you that it is not a topical episode, and please enjoy episode number 73 of Mercury's Cast. We are the people of Mercury. I am your interplanetary host, Travis Montgomery. These views reflect one planet and one planet alone.
I actually just had a conversation about that today.
Oh, yeah?
Do
you think people should lose their job if they use the N-word?
No, I don't think they should lose their job, but I also think it's a company's right.
A Nazi flag during a march.
I think they should be allowed to. I don't think they should lose their job, but I also believe that a corporation has the right to protect their image. That's why I refrained from associating myself with the company I worked for, because I didn't want anyone to misconstrue my voices, or my views, as views of the company. They were and did not represent my company, but these days anyone and everyone will try and get you fired from your job for expressing alternative viewpoints to the ones that they hold.
When the whole Nazi thing happened, and granted, I don't even believe those people were Nazis or the Proud Boys. It's something completely different at that rally, but they were labeled as Nazis, and 90% of the people in America were convinced they're Nazis. And Sean King puts out the bat signal to, we need to find out who these people are. And then soon enough, they're posting their information, where they work, their address, email, Twitter handle, and these people just got bombarded and lost their jobs for it.
Yeah, and I mean, it even chimes back to CNN doxing someone or threatening to dox someone. I think, did they end up they kind of doxed him, because I think some sleuths afterwards ended up finding out who he was, but it rings back to CNN doxing that guy for the Trump punching CNN meme. And despite my views on our Cheeto in chief,
Lord Emperor Trump?
God Emperor Trump. Oh God. Despite my views towards him, I still don't think people should lose, or people's families should be targeted, and people should be targeted for making a meme of the Cheeto Supreme punching the most biased the second most biased news organization, mainstream news organization, for for the giggles online. I don't think that guy even expected that meme to explode the way it did.
MSNBC has to be at the top, right?
Fox, faux news.
Whoa. You say they're more biased than MSNBC against Trump, either way, either for him or against him?
I think with Fox and CNN competing for being the most biased news organizations, they're starting to make CNBC look a little bit more credible than they had in recent years.
I don't know. I don't really listen to either one of them, but it strikes me as Fox is not 100% on board with Trump, but the other organizations are 100% against him.
Well, but that's just one area where they're more likely to report real news because a conservative is in office. But during the Obama presidency, Fox was running anything and everything they could. Not to confuse any of our listeners, but I haven't liked a single president that I can think of in history. I think our best president was one of our worst ones. So the bar is set pretty low. I don't think Obama's some kind of savior, but nobody can deny that Fox went on a crusade against Obama the same way that every other news organization but Fox is going on a crusade against Trump.
Yeah. most media outlets kind of licked Obama's nuts for the most part.
And Fox, on the other hand, it was a constant crusade. Well, the tables are turned now. The difference is it's every other major media organization versus Fox this time. Instead of Fox versus every other major media organization. Fox was trying to report stuff that the other ones weren't, but they weren't doing their due diligence to make sure what they were reporting was the truth. I recall a few times during his presidency where they reported news as real news, despite the fact that they never actually checked their sources. A couple times they reported on satirical news as real news,
Before
much like
they got to
CNN
facts.
has.
Yeah.
Much like CNN has recently. So,
yeah. And another thing that Obama did was swear he wouldn't go after the whistleblowers, the real journalists that try and be partial. And then what happened?
Well, he was supposed to have the most transparent. He was supposed to have the most transparent office in history.
Yeah, but all the WikiLeaks shit went down during his. Then Chelsea Manning,
and then
Bradley.
Bradley Chelsea. I think Chelsea's the correct one now. But yeah, with all that, I apologize for that.
Your cat door?
Yeah, my cat door. With all of that going the way it did, though, it kind of showed that his organization wanted to do anything and everything they could to shut up dissenters who would dare question his regime's authority.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about what went down, because now that Trump's in office, everyone is always like, what don't you wish we had 4 more years of Obama and blah, blah, blah. And then I started to think about, all right, what did Obama do that I didn't like? Or what that was. And then another thing is that people are saying, oh, there was zero controversy with Obama. Well, no, maybe not.
That's not true. Benghazi.
Benghazi, the Fast and the Furious.
Fast and Furious was a huge clusterfuck for him.
And they ended up, and Eric Holder was being indicted for it.
And for any of our listeners who don't know what Operation Fast and Furious was, essentially the Obama administration signed off on sending U.S. Weaponry down to Mexico to the cartels to track the guns. And those guns were linked to murders of U.S. citizens here on U.S. soil.
1,500 of them.
So, 1,500 guns.
Yeah, right? Firearms. So...
Not deaths for anyone that might have confused.
Yeah. So shout out to our listeners in France, who's our second most downloaded country. If you didn't know what the Fast and the Furious was, go check out Trey Gowdy digging into Eric Holder's ass, because that is some good listening. I like me a good old Trey Gowdy fucking ass whooping, because that dude lays down the heat.
Yep. No matter what your views on that guy are, when it comes to getting on his bad side in government, you really don't want to. I don't agree with a lot of his views.
He's such a sniper, though. He's such a fucking sniper.
Damn, is he just hones in on someone, and if you dare lie to this guy, I swear. The videos are so satisfying. I've sat for hours.
Yeah.
You guys, just to all of our listeners, if you haven't done it, go on YouTube and just look up all of the
Benghazi hearings. I've always wanted to go back. I've listened to like an hour or two. I always wanted to go and listen to the full 8. Never have gotten around to it. But him versus Comey, too, with the Hillary investigation. He got in his ass, Hillary Clinton, and, Obama's... I just said his name. I can't think of it. Yeah, he's. You don't want to be in the hot seat when that dude is on the other side, because he's a sniper, and I think he's good for the Justice Department in that aspect. Although it was proved that, and then a second time during the email investigation, it was proved that Hillary Clinton had did some fraudulent shit, And then James Comey's like, yeah, we can prove this and we can prove this, but we're still not going to press any charges or convict or whatever.
Basically what it was they determined that, yes, she did commit crimes. However, they didn't think that she knowingly committed those crimes. They basically excused her on ignorance. They said, well, what you did was against the law, but we don't think you intended to break the law. So we're just not going to charge you.
Right. And the gray area there was when she was replying to her sources who I think went unnamed for, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But she was replying to her sources. Like, if she did it unknowingly, why was she still digging for more information from her source? So it got kind of tricky there.
Well, the other thing is,
recently watching this stuff,
she also lied under oath to Congress.
And if that isn't enough, geez Louise.
So I believe that Clinton, although he was acquitted of his impeachment, I believe that's what the actual impeachment for Clinton was lying under oath.
It wasn't that.
I mean, Bill Clinton,
It wasn't the sexual act that happened. It was him lying about it under oath.
It was exactly.
I did not.
The sexual misconduct might have led to impeachment.
That whole thing.
The sexual misconduct might have led to an impeachment if not for the fact that he lied under oath.
But still,
and that was a much easier thing to get him for. But he was acquitted.
I don't think so. You know what? It takes a lot, since the word impeachment's been thrown around with Mr. 45T word. I've kind of looked it up what needs to happen in order to be impeached, because it just feel like people are saying he needs to be impeached and they can't even give a reason. So I was like, oh, what are the reasons so a president can commit murder and still not even be impeached until he's out of office? Because it distracts from the hardest job. He has the hardest job in the world, and it would distract. Yep. And the most important job in the world, if you want to be real about it, he's got which is
honestly the scariest thing about him holding it to be. Not to mince words, but that's the scariest. I'm glad that Hillary didn't win, but the booby prize for her failure certainly isn't a great one.
So here's another idea, and they were two terrible candidates, right? You know, I much would rather have a Ron Paul. He was probably my favorite presidential candidate ever. But so
yeah, my mom still got the bumper sticker.
Well, God bless her heart. So I think there should be a third option. It's not my idea. I heard it from somewhere else. But since we had such two bad candidates, can't we have an option? So we have a two-party political system in the United States. So why can't we have option C? And if option C says none of the above, and if they get more than 33% of the votes, then we just start all over with new candidates. I mean, how about that?
That would be a great way to do it. That would be fantastic. In fact, I think that with voter turnout being what it was for this election, I would say that a vast majority of Americans decided they didn't want a president.
Right. Well, they didn't like either of them. I know a bunch of smart people that said, I don't want to be responsible. I didn't.
I refused to vote.
Even though it was a waste of a vote, I voted for Gary Johnson for whatever reason, just to go say I voted.
I voted for Gary Johnson. When Obama was running for re-election. I did not vote for him this time around. I thought that in the 4 years since the time I previously voted for him, he has become an inept and almost embarrassing candidate.
He's become kooky
for the Libertarian Party.
He's become kooky.
Kookier. He's always been a weirdo, but I definitely think he went off the deep end during this election, and the Libertarian Party could have done a much better job of picking one. And I'm going to make myself a big target here, but I think McAfee would have been a hilarious choice for the. I think he would have been he was the most libertarian candidate that ran. It's just too bad that his past is so peppered with. His past is peppered with controversy, and the guy is totally loony. He's a good kind of crazy. He is a good kind of crazy.
Well, until he gets all that fucking
he's paranoid.
Power.
He's paranoid.
Until he gets all that power. I mean, we know what kind of crazy Trump is. He shows us every single speech. It's kind of like
think about it though. McAfee is paranoid. He does not trust government. And I think a president who doesn't trust government would be a great asset to this nation. McAfee doesn't even own a smartphone. And for those at home who don't know who McAfee is, if you've ever purchased a computer, odds are you have his former company's software on it. He sold the company, and it's gone to shit since he left. But it used to be the best. It used to be the best antivirus software you could get.
Is that where you got that line where when we were talking about the Russia hacking investigation? Where, because I also later on heard him say it, where the first thing, rule number 1, hacking 101, is that you never give up your source where you hacked from. So
yeah, you always make it look like someone else. You always make it look like someone else. So if the Russians hacked us, it would look like China hacked us, or it would look like anyone but Russia hacked us.
Unless they did it on purpose, and this is what a lot of the other theories, and we are just changing lanes here, but I think it's all right. Unless Putin did it on purpose and purposely left the IP address. Not Putin, his team, whatever, because I don't think they thought that they were going to influence the election votes. I think what they wanted to do was take the credibility away from the election system, which they kind of succeeded in that. And I don't think that they thought they were going to influence the election.
What was so funny to me, though, I think what was so funny about the election was how Hillary Clinton demanded that Trump accept the outcome of the election, no matter what. And every one of the Hillary supporters I spoke to was like, yeah, Trump's a joke. He won't even accept that if he loses. He's going to make a big shit show if he loses. If we lose fair and square, and we're going to,
so maybe
but we're not going to lose. There's no way we can lose. She
might have been anticipating some fuckery.
Maybe.
She knew something was coming up down the line.
But with how quickly she withdrew from the election after the results came in.
Oh, yeah.
With how quickly she laid down arms.
And then everyone talking about the popular vote.
Yeah, but the popular vote doesn't mean shit.
All of a sudden, the popular vote is the fucking, because she lost, but she won the popular vote. Now everyone was screaming, fuck the election.
I think the funniest meme out there right now is her book, What Happened, and then all it says is the line, I neglected to campaign, and then it's a list of states that she didn't campaign in that voted straight, firmly red.
That's true.
Because she neglected great swaths of America that she could have maybe swayed. And I think that Michael Moore video was a very good... That Michael Moore video changed my view of Trump supporters. I still think a lot of them were misguided or weren't necessarily as educated on what they were doing as they thought. But Michael Moore nailed it as to why he won. And this was before the election. Michael Moore pretty much predicted what was going to happen. He said Trump's going to win. And the reason he's going to win is because it's going to be a big fuck you to the last 8 years of politics that have ruined the central United States.
The flyover states, as they call them.
Yeah. That's why Trump won. And that's why Trump won, is because you've got cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco that take California's vote and make it firmly in the blue. But anywhere I go, I'm going to find conservatives who are pissed off.
And the funny thing about that,
they're pissed that Trump won, but they're also pissed that they don't get a say in what happens unless they want to move, because they're so grossly outnumbered by people who just vote that way.
To add to your point, Trump didn't lose California by as much as people thought that he would. I
think he had like 33% of the vote.
It was like a couple million, which ain't shit in California. It was like 2 million or something.
I could have sworn he took 33 or 38% of California's vote. Which for California, that's substantial.
Angel, our fact checker's on it, so she's going to give us the information when we.
Fantastic.
But anyways, I think there was a lot of things that happened. You can't point to just one reason why Trump won. I think it was a myriad of reasons, and I think one of like the flyover states that you were talking about. I think that they got tired of. So Obama was kind of like an anti-American. He's always apologizing for us and then our history. You know, we have a racist history and slavery and you know we've done this and we've done that. It's always kind of like apologizing, kind of anti-American. And then here comes Trump, fucking America all the way, and then he's getting crowds going, yeah. You know, I think there was
every redneck with their pickup truck was like, that's the guy I want to be behind.
Dude, and he sold them, I mean, hook, line, sinker. We probably should have seen it coming.
Oh, I did. I hoped at least. I didn't think he'd win, but I knew that it would be an upset. I knew he would do better than everyone else thought he would.
So for anyone that's interested, we live broadcasted the whole election. Me, my dear friend Sean, and then Asian Tim. We went for like 4 or 5 hours, and towards the end, it was like we would just keep counting the polls, and we're like, no, it's not going to happen. It's on there on the YouTube channel, Mercury's Cast. It's very, if you want to sit through 4 or 5 hours of this shit, but it was kind of like, all right, here we are, and it's going down, and then it's like, whoa. Every time it would refresh, it would be like, damn. All right, hold on, and then it would be like, oh shit!
I think,
and then we were like, "Oh my fucking god, he did it!"
My election experience was hilarious. Mine was hilarious.
Tell me about it.
Because I was in Cincinnati, Ohio. I was with my my little sister and her boyfriend, and we were at a hookah lounge, a trendy, you know, liberal, in like college. You know, Cincinnati, downtown Cincinnati is a college town. University of Cincinnati, bunch of college kids in this hookah bar. And the atmosphere in there was so tense, and it was so funny because the look of shock and awe on these people, these kids' faces who cast their vote for Hillary, and they were certain she would win. Because, you know, this is a swing state. I was in a swing state for the election. And they were so shocked, and I was sitting back in satisfaction because
I need to cut you off a little bit because this is supposed to be for the next episode. But you can finish your story because I'm sure we've got a pretty smart dude coming on the next show to talk about Hillary Clinton and the election. I can't believe I let this happen. But go ahead and finish your story.
I'm in a hookah lounge, bunch of liberals looking shock and awe, and I'm thinking to myself, did you guys leave Cincinnati at all during this election? This election season? Did you leave the city at all? Did you leave your college campus? Did you leave your liberal arts classes? Did you leave your underwater basket weaving for just a second to look around and see all those fucking Trump signs on everyone's lawn? Because in my hometown, you could say of Fairfield, Ohio, there were Trump signs. Someone planted a Trump sign in my yard, and I ran up to it and punted it because I did not want that on my yard. And my dad, being a diehard liberal, diehard blue-collar liberal, I thought it would give him a heart attack.
Is he union?
Yeah, he's a big pro-union guy. He wasn't a Clinton supporter, though, oddly enough. Loved her husband.
It's weird that all the union guys vote liberal. It strikes me as funny when a lot of blue-collar...
It doesn't strike me as funny at all because...
Well, explain this to me.
Because that's been the big... It's the Democrat con. They con the working class into thinking that the Democrats are fighting for them because they fight for pro-union.
Please explain something to me.
Because every union is a huge Democrat fucking recruiting ground.
Please
if you want a quick 1 second, if you want to fast track into politics, become a union boss. If you want a DNC nomination, be a union boss. Explain, Travis.
Please explain something to me.
Explain what?
Why is you Hoto.
Why am I what?
Hoto.
Hoto?
I thought you knew Spanish, bro. Hoto is a fucking
Bits and
fun
pieces.
word. It's a fun word. Hoto. It means you're gay.
I might have to look this up because
So you just know I have trabajo and I'm going to go on lunche in hola and buenos
El
noches.
Luncho. It's actually El Luncho for my Quasadala.
Buenos
for my
nachos.
Quasadala.
Thank you.
Bueno nachos.
Buenos nachos. All right, I see where you're
I'm
going.
sorry, I don't.
You're
I ain't
Taco
speaking
Bell. You
Chalupa.
got Taco Bell Spanish under your belt. Well, guess what, buddy? I lived in Southern California my whole entire life, and I take a. I'm just kidding.
I ain't speak taco.
I ain't speaking on Taco Bell.
So
Anyway.
what was your question?
Would you rather be able to fly or be invincible?
We're doing a would you rather.
We're doing a would you? I have
You
two.
really want to get off this topic, don't you?
Yeah, we got to because we're going to go over it in our next episode, like in complete, like it's what it's about.
You got some editing to do on this one, boy.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll edit it out, and I'm going to leave.
wait. I'm gonna make it really easy for you. I'm gonna make it really easy for you too. You know, I'm gonna do that. Do you look at the WAV file for when you're doing your editing?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
Well, here. Now you've got a good waveform to look for to know
Thank
where
you.
you're
I'll
going to be
just look
cutting
for
a lot
the
of shit.
spike on both ends. Thanks for that.
There we go. You're welcome. I'm going to
Buenos
start doing
nachos.
that now. Anyways,
Buenos nachos.
buenos nachos. Buenos nachos.
Buenos nachos.
Bueno nachos.
Shout out to France.
Quasadala taco.
Shout out.
So would I rather be able to fly or what?
Be invisible.
Be invisible? Really depends. Do my clothes turn invisible too?
Yes.
Okay.
I know
and-
that's a controversial issue when it comes to being invisible, because then you'd have to be naked and reappear naked. But then if your clothes didn't disappear,
Well, no, it's I don't want to only be able to turn invisible without my clothes on because it could be really cold and I don't want to freeze my nuts off.
well, also that means anything that you touch would turn invisible, including the ground that you're standing on. So if anything that you're touching turns invisible, you have to jump in the air, hit the invisibility switch, and then jump back down. Does that make sense?
I
thought
don't
about
think
this.
that's how it would work. I could.
You can't turn the whole.
use super.
All right, so you would turn the square of the concrete pavement that you're on, or the square of the rug that you
Well,
were
no.
on, or maybe just the thread.
What if the clothing, just things that your skin is physically touching, turned invisible? Your skin's not touching the ground; it's touching your shoes.
It would, well, oh, and this brings us to another topic. Have you ever heard of the Philadelphia experiment?
No.
All right, we'll get back to that. We could do a whole episode on that, by the way. So
Then we will.
whatever can be conducted electromagnetically through your body. So if your shoes were like really insulated, then it wouldn't affect the ground that you're standing on.
Okay, so electromagnetic controlled invisibility. That's a good. Okay, now a question about the flying before I make this choice, because this is a very tough and very important choice for the future of America. Can I fly into space and still be able to breathe?
No.
Can I fly into the upper atmosphere and still be able to breathe?
Until you're not able to breathe as a human. What are you, Superman? You don't have iron lungs.
Well, that's the idea. Is what's the point of being able to fly if I can only fly at an altitude of like 30 feet?
You can fly at a couple hundred feet and be fine.
Yeah, but eventually there's going to be some oxygen deprivation, and how fast can I fly? Do I have to flap my arms like wings? Do I grow wings? Is that what happens?
You are essentially Iron Man.
But that would kill me, because unless I had a way of stabilizing inertial stabilizers, just the rapid movement, I'd get a concussion every time I fucking
if you
took
had
off.
just the ability to defy gravity until you couldn't defy gravity anymore. How about that? Catch me outside.
I would take flight if it was like a telepathic flight, to where like kind of like a bubble.
Ooh,
That way
how
I
about
could
this?
fly at airplane cruising
I just thought of
cruising altitudes
I just
without
thought of a third one.
suffocating.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but let's throw this in the mix. The
Okay.
ability to stop time for 5 minutes at a time.
I'd take the time stopping for fucking sure.
Huh.
Really. Every time.
Yeah. So
Because
all right.
there
How would that
are
be useful,
very
though?
there are because you don't specify how long after I stop time I have to wait to restop time. 5 minutes are up. I can stop it again.
24 hours.
No. Make it 5 minutes. Whatever the duration of stopping time, you can't stop time again for. And then I'll take it. Otherwise, it's still flight, but only telekinetic flight.
I would still take flight because I think stopping time would get boring unless you're a super pervert.
No, the reason I choose stopping time is I'm thinking about how many situations stopping time could potentially save you. Like, okay, let's say Rocket Man decides to nuke California. If I've got, let's say a half hour I can stop time, I can freeze frame a mushroom cloud in the sky and get safely away from the shockwave, just weaving through traffic. Because I'm assuming whatever I touch also comes through time.
You're not trying to save humanity. You're just trying to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I see where you're going with that.
We're not all superheroes.
Well,
or think about the monetary gain of stopping time for 5 minutes.
you can rob every 7-Eleven.
I'm not even thinking about robbing. I'm just thinking about like illegitimately winning, like gambling. You can stop time, look at other people's cards in a game of poker.
Yeah, but you'd have to be slick. People might catch on to you after a while.
Remember that guy that kept winning that game show where you had to stop the buzzer on a certain tile to win the prize, and he kept winning it because he knew the randomized pattern.
All right.
I'm a cynic and I like history. So this guy basically learned the pattern of this game show where it would switch these tiles, and he'd always hit the buzzer at the same time and always win the prize. He was on the show like 5 times, and he won a ton of money.
Double whammy. Not that one, is it? No.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember, but I remember that he's the reason they randomized it.
Well, so that might have been the first creation of artificial intelligence.
For game shows. That honestly wouldn't be surprising in American culture. Oh, we've created AI. Why? Game shows.
Somebody
Vapid and superficial entertainment. Vapid and superficial entertainment leads to the greatest AI breakthroughs. God, that's either an Onion headline or a CNN headline, and I'm kind of scared to imagine which it'll be.
Well, I choose flying. You choose stopping time.
Either stopping time or flying. I think invisibility is a stupid superpower.
Yeah. Unless you're a pervert.
Because stopping time serves most of the purposes that going invisible would serve. The only difference is you have to stop time and you can't watch things happen, but I'm not a voyeur.
Huh.
So I don't really care to watch people get it on.
Now that you put
But if I can stop time and tie someone's shoelaces, I mean, that'll be, as they're walking, that'd be pretty fucking
just
fun.
time together.
Yeah.
Or just place
like
somebody right in front of him.
Usain Bolt's running the Olympics. Suddenly his shoes are tied and he falls.
Or you tie his shoe together with somebody else's. With like
that'd be funny too.
Another piece of string.
I think the issue with asking me that sort of question is I have very little in the way of good intentions, and I would most certainly use my powers for pranks no matter what I did.
You're just such a dark demon, you. You're a real-life Jezebel.
You're a juke joint, Jezebel.
The fuck did you call me? All right. Worst scenario. Okay. Here's another would you rather. Worst scenario, you are hanging with 15 of your buds and you're watching some kind of event, sporting, movie, fucking debut, Game of Thrones, something like that, and there's like 15 of you. Somebody goes and takes the food order, okay? And so here's scenario one.
You've already got one problem. You've already got one problem with the scenario. I don't have friends.
Just try. Do you have an imagination? Do you have an imagination?
Okay. I wonder what friends
imagine
are
that
like.
you had friends. Okay.
Continue. So food order.
Food order scenario number one. They go to Five Guys or your favorite hamburger joint. I don't know if you eat hamburgers or not. Do you enjoy a burger?
Wait, what?
Do you enjoy hamburgers?
Yeah, hamburgers are all right. Five Guys is pretty good. I don't like
Five
the bacon,
Guys.
though. It's too crispy.
They go to Five Guys. Guy comes back, has everyone order right with the burgers, comes back with a sack full of fries, no ketchup, and there's no ketchup in the house either. Okay, there's scenario number one. Scenario number two is they go to your favorite Mexican food joint, and guy comes back. Everyone's orders right. Chips, and a big bag full of chips, but no salsa. What?
Scenario one, I don't like ketchup.
You don't like ketchup?
Nope. I would just dip the fries in salsa.
No, you don't have fries. You don't get both.
No, you said scenario one.
You're either
scenario one. I've got burgers and French fries, but no ketchup.
Yeah, there's no salsa either.
So I'm going to take the burger and fry scenario because I don't like ketchup anyways.
You are so
I don't give a shit if
un-American.
there's no ketchup.
You might as well move to France.
It's just sugar. It's sugar, vinegar, and tomato paste. I could just make it.
Sometimes
Worst case scenario.
You really disappoint me sometimes. I wish that you would grant nobody else any wishes ever.
Wish granted.
Ooh.
Wish granted. Cool.
All right, no,
It's a dumb wish.
I wish for everyone in the world to be happy. How about that?
Wish granted. They're all dead.
They can't feel happy when they're
Okay,
dead.
sorry. Wish granted. They all die happy. Cool. Instantaneously, they're instantly over. Everyone in the
Why
world
would they have
instantly
to
dies of
die, though?
happiness.
That doesn't make any sense.
Because it's to corrupt your wish. The idea
you're
is
gonna
I have to grant your wish, but I have to make the outcome bad, no matter what you wish.
Okay. I wish. But my wish has to be happy in that sense, I guess. So I wish that all poor people had a home.
Wish granted, but literally everyone else loses their home.
God damn it. I ain't giving up my shit for somebody who doesn't want to work. I am JK.
Money is especially fun. Money is especially fun.
Okay, I wish I had $100 million.
Granted, but you can only spend it, store it, and carry it in the form of pennies.
But, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
You get $100 million, but it's all in pennies.
No, I said dollars.
Yes, but it's all in the form of pennies. Pennies are legal tender. You can only spend it, carry it.
I know, but it's not what I meant.
And store it in the form of pennies.
That's not what I meant.
What did you mean then?
That's not what I meant. I don't want to be Scrooge McDuck swimming in piles full of gold.
It doesn't matter what you meant. You just wished for $100 million. I'm granting you $100 million in pennies.
No.
Too bad. Want to hear a fun fact? To spend $1,000 in pennies, it would cost you more transporting $1,000 in pennies than it would to spend them.
Shit, I got a big backpack.
I think 1,000 pennies. I think $1 in pennies weighs. Let me see. How much does?
Is that how fast you type, really?
I'm swiping.
Well, that might be your problem, Mr.
on my phone.
Android. Mr. fucking Android.
Fairly certain iPhone has that too. Now it only took them 3 years to.
With Androids, and I tell everybody, the problem. The problem with Androids. No, I can't even. Oh, Melania. Oh, Melania. Those sons of bitches. You're fired. You can't even do it anymore.
$50 in pennies weighs 27 pounds. Do the math.
Shit. That's like 3 trips to the post office.
$100 or over 50 pounds.
That's like 3 trips to the post office.
So imagine trying to buy a car. $23,000 car. Every 100 pounds is, let's say, 50, or every $100 is 50 pounds, let's say. So $1,000, 500 pounds, 10,000, 5,000 pounds. So to buy a car, you'd have to carry 10,000 pounds of pennies.
You might be
just
able
to buy a car
to fill the whole car with the pennies that you're using to pay for it with. You might be able.
How are you going to get the pennies there to pay for it in the first place?
So here's the thing: is that you spend a couple hundred of that 27,000 to rent a truck. The one that it's a dump truck.
So you're gonna one, how are you gonna get a dump truck for rent for a couple $100? 2, how are you gonna carry that couple $100 to get the dump truck, seeing as $200 of pennies would weigh over 100 pounds?
A bobcat, okay? Okay, you get a bobcat to dump the pennies into the truck, which then the truck would go to the car dealership and just dump a pile full of pennies and say, thank you. I mean,
so
is that against
here's the issue, though. You'd have to carry to just rent something for $100. You'd have to carry 50 pounds of pennies, however far away.
No, you get a bobcat. A bobcat is a small little vehicle.
I know what a bobcat is. How are you gonna get the bobcat?
You spend some of that money you, instead of the fucking.
How much of that money?
It's another 100 maybe for a day. With delivery and drop off. No, with delivery and drop off, that is $200.
But you'd have to find a company that'll rent you a bobcat with cash on site, or will deliver a bobcat to you and accept cash upon arrival, as opposed to taking credit before they even get there. Good luck finding that.
I think it could be done. While I was struggling,
I think that it would. I think to spend $100 million in. So what did I determined that $20,000 of pennies would weigh. $100 of pennies is 50 pounds. So 1,000 is 500. 10,000 is 5,000. If I'm doing the math right here, I could be doing it wrong. And then 20,000 would be 10,000. So for every 100, it's 50 pounds. So for $100 million of pennies, you're talking about 50 million pounds of pennies. The amount of money you'd spend just to spend those pennies would potentially cost more than.
No, it wouldn't.
How many pennies you
would not.
Just as basically you're doubling the cost of everything.
It would not cost more than $100 million to move it.
Shit, no, I'm just saying you're doubling costs though. Imagine trying to buy a mansion. Imagine trying to buy a mansion.
Or 2.
Imagine trying to buy $1 million mansion. You'd have to transport 500,000 pounds of pennies.
Yeah, to, I guess, a real estate office or a bank?
I guess. And just the distance of, dude, we're talking about a lot of money and a lot of inconvenience.
That sounds like something you would do just to fuck with people.
I mean, you're not wrong.
You would do something like that.
So I may or may not have paid a few bills in pennies before.
Uh-huh. So, Alex, if you don't mind, do you want to talk about your new job?
Kinda. It's kind of the same old stuff. I've always noticed that I get paid a lot better for doing dumb person work. So, I'm going to be reading papers and finding items on those papers. I'm getting paid twice as much as I did in a retail job, so that's cool.
Your first day is tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Hopefully I feel a little bit. I really, really, really hope that I feel a little bit better before then, because I have to wear steel toes for 10 hours tomorrow. And I really don't want to, I really hope this isn't the flu, because I really don't want to spend my first day with the flu in steel toes feeling like this. That would really suck.
What's wrong with steel toe boots?
Mine are really heavy. Like, they're cheap steel toes. They're Skechers.
It builds character, bro.
Yeah, well, the last time I wore these shoes for a job, I wore them when I was working for another job very similar to this one, except instead of the stuff I'm going to be packing here, which I will leave very ambiguous, I was packing plant bulbs and, 50-pound bags of hyacinth bulbs and shit. By the way, anyone listening at home, hyacinths make you itchy as fuck. So don't. They're very pretty, but they're not worth the itch. It's like going to Thailand and not using protection.
Bulbs, like the high-pressure sodium bulb?
Hyacinths, the plant.
What are they? What is their application?
Decorative garden pieces, because they're plants that flower.
Oh.
So they really don't serve a purpose. I guess pollinating, but.
You said bulb, and I thought light bulb.
No, I'm talking about plant bulbs, dude. And these things make you itch. They call it the hyacinth itch. But anyways, I was working 78 hours a week doing that, and those steel toes were just brutal.
Well, they should be broken in by now.
Oh, they are well and good broken in. I've worn these things at 3 different jobs now.
So what you need to do when you get yourself some money is get some Red Wings. They cost a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to get some Red Wing. I'm getting Red Wings. I am getting Red Wings, and I'm also getting their, I want their composite toe. I don't want steel toe anymore. I want composite toes. And I believe Red Wings make very nice composite toe shoes.
Yeah, if you don't have to worry about anything like mildly heavy falling on your foot. But then another problem with steel toes becomes that if something super heavy falls on your foot,
toes off.
Then
they cut your toes off.
Kind of in the sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or they have to cut your toes off.
I think that the steel toes are a minor precaution here. The stuff we're going to be handling is maybe 50 pounds tops. And those composite toes are rated to at least 1,000 pounds. So
I feel like
I haven't looked it up, but I think it's a pretty decent weight that they can handle.
The top of your foot is way more vulnerable than your toes are. I've dropped something on the top of my foot, and I still have an injury to this day. When I was wearing steel toes.
Yeah, I've actually got
fell on the top of my foot.
Dimple on the top of my foot.
Oh.
Your audio cut out on my end. I've got a dimple on the top of my foot from I was working in a glazing shop, and an aluminum window, a 2-story aluminum window frame, landed on my foot and totally missed the steel toe portion. Got me in the what do they call that? The tongue of the boot.
Yeah.
Me in the tongue where it reaches down towards the bottom straps, and now I've got a nice little kind of triangular dimple in the top of my foot from it.
Yeah, my injury happened in 2/14. I was on a lift cutting a piece of pipe with the Sawzall, and a Makita Sawzall, by the way, so it's very powerful. And it
Makitas.
stabbed me, the Sawzall blade stabbed me in the top of my foot. And, I mean, it hurt when it happened, but it gradually hurt more and more and more. And then it hurt for like, every morning when I would get up, it hurt for a good solid year. And then it was sporadically, and then now it's like once in a while. And then I got gout on that same foot, so fucking...
That's because our gracious host, Travis Montgomery, has a horrible diet.
I don't know about all that.
Gout is brought on by bad diet, hombre.
Are you sure about that?
Drink more water and cranberry juice.
I have a pretty good diet, and I did for a while. I gave up red meat just because for a long time, and then I kind of got back into it a little bit before the first gout attack. But there's a lot of things that go into it, and diet is definitely one of them. But it wasn't like I was. It wasn't like I was eating a carne asada burrito for lunch every single day.
Why not?
But at the time, it might have had something to do with dehydration, and then the beer definitely doesn't help. I wasn't drinking as much water.
Yeah, I think.
But once you get it, here's the thing: is once you get it, you got it. Like it doesn't go away.
Yeah, I'm really worried that I might actually have gout, but I don't think I do. My foot hurts on occasion, but I think it's just arthritis.
You don't have arthritis yet.
Yes, actually, I have eczema and psoriasis, so it's very likely that I do have psoriatic arthritis.
You have sciatica?
It says psoriatic arthritis. I have eczema and psoriasis.
Isn't that another old man's? Isn't that another old man's disease?
No, eczema. It hits youngins like myself. It's an autoimmune disease, and it's related to arthritis. Arthritis is also an autoimmune disease.
It's also an old man disease.
It's autoimmune. It's your body attacking itself. So for youngins like me with juvenile arthritis, it's fantastic.
So were you not able to? Are you not able to take any vaccines?
I'm fully vaccinated.
Huh. I thought people with autoimmune disease cannot.
No, you're thinking about like severe autoimmune diseases. I'm just talking about like skin conditions, like psoriasis. You've seen psoriasis, right?
Yeah. It's
like flaky, scaly skin.
Yeah, it's almost like it's decaying.
Yeah. It's itchy like it is too. I don't get it bad though. You can actually barely tell that I have it. But the eczema, if I'm in a cold climate, it hits pretty bad.
Eczema sounds like a superhero who can just exit the room whenever he wants.
Captain Eczema? That or...
like transport?
It kind of sounds like a really bad erectile dysfunction drug.
Eczema. Or really
Are you having problems down there? You should try eczema.
Eczema.
It'll give you the endurance and stamina to love her long time.
Your woman will love you for 2 hours.
Eczema.
Eczema. Or if you're in a battle with Captain Planet, you could just get the fuck out of there. You know what I'm saying? I feel like,
yeah, I know what you're saying, sport.
So you Generation Z folks are just like highly emotional. You know what?
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah,
I'm borderline sociopathic.
I
am borderline sociopathic.
You're emotional, and you haven't found the ability to argue with logic and reason and rational counter arguments. Some of the shit that you think,
I would beg to differ.
Not you, but your people. They got their minds
They're not
made
my
up
people.
already. Those are your peeps.
My peers are not. I don't think that one's peers are controlled by their age group so much as who they associate with.
So
I don't associate with many people.
So Generation Z are people that can remember 9/11. I think that's the classification. I fall under Generation Y or the millennials.
I'm barely in that.
I'm barely
in that generation.
I'm barely considered a millennial, but I still am, and I do not want to identify as that.
You are a millennial, though.
Millennials are fucking pretty sensitive and out of control and triggered, but Generation Z is actually worse, and I can't wait to see what's after that because it seems like they just keep doubling down.
I think the generation that... No, I think this next one's going to be different. I really do.
It's going to be like conservative.
Yeah.
Like we've
see it a lot.
enough. We've had enough of this triggering bullshit.
Okay, so this Issa Ibn guy that we have on, he's not in my generation. I'm barely in my generation. Because you know how old I was during 9/11?
Enlighten me.
I was 8 years old.
I think you do fall under the millennial category then.
I barely remember 9/11. Barely.
So I think I'm exactly 10 years older than you.
93, bud.
Yeah, 83, bud.
So I remember 9/11, but
What
I
month?
remember it in the context, June. I remember it in the context of we didn't get to go to recess because we were under terror alert because of how close we were to Disney. I was in Florida at the time because of how close we were.
I was about to ask you. You moved around a lot. Where in Florida were you?
I was in the Tampa area. We were too close to Disney World, which was seen as a terror.
Northern Western Florida, right?
No,
Tampa Bay.
Western, yes. Northern, no. It was central Western Florida. Tampa Bay.
I told you, Central Western Florida. All right.
You said Northern Western. That'd be like the Panhandle.
Nah, pretty sure I said Central Western.
And when you go over the editing, you're gonna hear yourself say Northwestern.
No, in fact, I'm certain.
I think you're getting a little bit emotional and incapable of making rational arguments here.
Oh, are you calling me part of Generation Z now? How fucking dare you?
The tables have turned. So anyways, for 9/11, I actually, as long ago as it was, I remember it pretty well. Not really, I didn't have an emotional impact from it. I really sometimes question whether I'm a sociopath. Maybe I just couldn't understand it, or maybe I didn't really get the weight of it then. But we had to come in from recess because we were under terror alert because George Bush had planned to visit our school and because we were close to Disney World. So we didn't get to go to recess that day, and I was pissed. And then when I got home, the TV was on Fox News. And God, I actually remember that TV. It was pretty large for its time. It was one of those CRT TVs. Black. I think it was
those big.
I can't remember the logo. I think it had like a lightning bolt in the logo though. So
that was Zenith.
It was a Zenith.
Bam. 5 points for the fucking T-Money. Anyways, go ahead.
Talk about some partially photogenic or photographic memory. If only I could talk right. So I remember looking on the TV and there were towers on fire and they fell. And that's really all I remember from it. It was kind of a non-issue after that.
So I was a senior in high school when it happened. And I think it was hard for me to remember. It just seemed like a plane had flown into the building when I first came downstairs, like getting ready to go to school. and I think the second plane had hit, or the first tower had fell when I got to school. But then it was like the second tower fell, and then I can't really remember. The second plane hit, and then the first tower fell, and then the second tower fell. And then for me, being at the age of 18, it wasn't until the second tower fell when I was like, oh shit, there is something going on here. But I was also 18. I was involved in a lot of different stuff. Politics wasn't my thing until like my early to mid 20s. So it was, I thought it was significant. I didn't really have an opinion on it. I felt really bad. And my brother was, at that time, he was going through the training program to be in the fire academy. And I think it was like 2 years later, he had a 9/11 book at his house, like a great book that a firefighter had given to him as a gift for his birthday or something. And it was like one of the first houses that he had moved out of when he moved out of my parents' house. And I went through, it was mostly picture. It was just pictures. And I was going through it, and I literally started to cry just from the weight of it just started to hit me. When you're young like that, you can kind of, and people today try and get emotional, but I don't know. When you're 17, 18, you think you know everything, and you don't know shit, and you don't have really that much life experience under your belt, for the most case. But a couple years later,
definitely second that.
A couple years later, when I went through that book, it was super duper. The fire and people covered in ash and people trying to help. It's I
think what got me, just looking back, what got me was seeing images of molten, or seeing these artist recollections of molten steel that these firemen were navigating through when going through the rubble, the basement rubble, looking for survivors.
Steel can't burn from jet fuel, Alexander.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Hashtag thermite. Hashtag building 7. That's still a bit of an enigma, but not to get on the conspiracy bandwagon.
It is. You know what? Most demolitions, and even if you look at the earthquakes that happened in Mexico, all those buildings fell straight forward. They didn't topple over, even though the earth was shaking. They all fell straight down. So go ahead and put that in your pipe, and then shove it up your ass.
I mean, I'd rather not. Well, that does sound kind of kinky. Anyways,
depends on what kind of night you're having. I'm not here to judge.
What was so strange about it though is, like, as a kid, like the kid's perspective of that. I was in elementary school. I think
third grade.
Third grade, yeah, third grade, maybe second. Yeah, third grade, I think. Being in the third grade, it had absolutely no emotional weight to it whatsoever. None.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's hard for
my family didn't know anyone in New York. It didn't personally affect us in any way, shape, or form. We didn't fly, so like the whole TSA restrictions following that didn't really affect us. Our lives were almost entirely untouched by it. The only bad thing about it was, as a kid, I really, really, really hated country music. And all the 9/11 anthems afterwards were just so unbearably annoying.
Oh my God, you poor thing.
Like I was a cynical little kid. I was really cynical even as a kid. And I thought, wow, they're making money off a national tragedy. Have you forgotten what they did that day?
Man, I can't imagine how you felt.
America hasn't forgotten. America hasn't forgotten. It's been like fucking 2 years.
I don't know. I just can't put myself in your shoes.
Fucking assholes.
That much pain that you were going through.
Either way.
It must have been crazy.
That's the point. I wasn't. Most of my generation wasn't. The only people I could wager to say that were my age that were really deeply impacted by that were kids in New York or the surrounding regions where that like really played an effect.
Like the ones that died?
Kids who lost people, like kids who lost family members who worked there and in the surrounding buildings. And that's really all I can think of. And kids with family in the military. That's the other third one that was really affected, but I don't think those kids put the pieces together as to because those buildings fell, that's why daddy died.
Well, what about the first responders too that were trying to rescue people? And then,
well, yeah, I think that's really affected by the in and around New York crowd, because I think most of those first responders were local fire stations.
And
if I do recall, there were some outside stations, like I think some fire crews from Jersey and can't remember where else came up and helped. Like people volunteered from all over, but like kids my age were not affected by it. And kids younger than me don't remember it. They can't.
Right.
Like if they do, it doesn't make sense as a memory, if that makes sense.
So could you imagine the people that live in New York where there's a lot of like these overpowering mosques popping up, and there's one area in Brooklyn where they announced that Muslim prayer song over the loudspeaker over the whole neighborhood, and it's very loud. I don't know if you've seen a video of that. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be allowed to do it, but I mean, you can kind of there's got to be a little resonance of.
I've got a counter question for you. Were there, aside from the obvious jokes of they were flying the planes, were there any Muslim people killed in the Twin Towers that happened to work there?
I believe there was.
So, as a counter question for all those people that were personally affected by it, how do you think innocent American Muslims, proud American Muslims, felt just after that happened?
Well, here's the other thought is that Muslims overseas, the big terror groups, they kill more of their own Muslims than they do anyone else. It's kind of like the immigrant gangsters that come here. Hold on, listen. It's kind of like the immigrant Muslims that come here from MS-13. They come here to sell drugs and to rape and to kill or whatever. And mostly in their own neighborhoods are they causing that damage. I mean, so it would be a good idea to get those people out that are affecting the illegal immigrant neighborhoods. Even the illegals come here or whatever. But you got to get the bad ones out because they are the ones that are terrorizing their own neighborhood, pretty much.
I'm more of a invisible hand of the free market kind of guy. I think those issues tend to sort themselves out. But all I'm saying was there was an entire ethnic group that was demonized and vilified because of the actions of very few. And
yeah, but those guys, the most victims of extreme ISIS terrorism are actually Muslims themselves. It's not Americans.
So
it's very few.
Then they're double victims. Then they're double victims because now they get vilified by Americans who see them as just dirty towelheads who played a part in taking down the towers, or by their own people as a necessary deaths to further the cause of their own theocratic.
Government. Most Americans are not saying we need to get rid of the religion of Islam. They're saying we need to get rid of Islamic extremists.
Do I think it was a little bit insensitive that they wanted to open a mosque right across from the memorial? Yeah, I think that was a little bit insensitive. Or
you know what? I would not.
Short-sighted.
I would say no. I would just say no. Sorry.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I couldn't give you any rational explanation, like any legal or like logical.
No, there is no legal or logical reasoning other than
no.
It's in bad taste.
How about no? How about that? How about no?
It's in bad taste. Well, right. I think we're going to wrap this one up because my voice has gotten to the point where it is itchy.
And the last point that I will make before we close this up, is that, and we are in the month of September, where we're about 2 weeks removed from the, what was it, the 16th, 15th anniversary of it, 9/11, 16th. So most Americans forget about 9/11 until it's September 11th again. But for people who really care about America and who really understand that something like that can very well happen again, we stay diligent on that topic. Same thing coming through the borders. I mean, look what happened in, what was it, Maryland? The Sudanese immigrant shot up at
Tennessee,
same thing.
That was one of the travel ban countries.
It was,
Sudan.
But it was funny that Trump took them off the list right after that happened, which was like, what the fuck? Well, that was, Sudan was on the travel ban list, but now it's not. Go figure. I don't know how to call it. I don't know how to call a lot of this shit. But we're here. We're going to pay attention, and we're going to bring you the realness. Next episode is going to be Hillary Clinton's
clusterfuck.
We're going to eviscerate Hillary Clinton and take a reflection back on to the election. That might seem like it's going to be boring, but we got a new guest, and we're going to propose some new ideas on how it happened. Hindsight is 20/20 type of view on it, because we spent so much time on it before the inauguration and stuff like that, and then we totally separated ourselves from it, which we're going to do again right after this next fucking episode.
And for anyone that's really curious, because lately Travis and I have had this Hannity and Combs vibe, and I never thought I'd be identifying as Combs, because wow, that guy, ooh, woo. But
I don't even care how you do that correlation. So that's next week, and then
I do fully intend on roasting the hell out of Trump. So we've been avoiding the T word. It's time I break it out, and I've got quite a lot of stuff to say that I haven't heard the mainstream media say. So I want to roast Trump in a logical, reasonable, rational way, as opposed to making up a bunch of false. Oh no, I'm not doing the false Russia correlations where even CNN knows it's bullshit.
Okay, because if you come with some bullshit,
I want to critique.
I'm turning into a.
I want to critique Trump.
I'm turning into a Trump defender, which actually kind of means I'm turning into a Trump supporter, because most people that come at Trump, they just come at him the wrong way, and I have my criticisms of him, but I think a lot of the way that people criticize him is wrong, and they're just wrong. They're not right.
I plan on criticizing him.
How do you like it? How do you like?